Hey guys, welcome back to EAK TV, and we are at the ANON Blockchain Summit in Vienna, in Austria, and I'm delighted to have Jolanda Ter Maten with us, a member of the EU Commission, who's been discussing today the impact of blockchain in business. Welcome to the channel.
Thank you very much. Nice being here.
Yeah, thank you. So I understand that you have a workshop in about half an hour's time. Can you let us know about what that workshop is about?
Well, that workshop is also about the impact of blockchain and innovations to businesses. I talk a little bit how innovations came to be, what happens to open the mind of the people so they can see the possibilities that are ahead with blockchain instead of only the difficulties.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I understand you represent the Netherlands in the EU Commission. Could you tell us about how the Netherlands are actually, implementing blockchain into business specifically?
Yeah. Well, in the Netherlands, we have, for example, the Dutch Blockchain Coalition, where I'm also an advisor. And the Dutch Blockchain Coalition is a coalition of the public services in the Netherlands, the academic institutions, and the businesses. And we work together there to create a blockchain ecosystem that is reliable and sustainable.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I understand that you're also an advisor for the Blockchain Coalition, as you mentioned, the ISO. How do you think that blockchain is actually making as big of a difference as it should be by now? Because lots of people, blockchain came on the scene and everyone was like, it's going to change the world, it's going to help the unbanked, it's going to do this, it's going to do that. Do you believe that we're seeing as much impact as we should be at this stage?
I think at this stage there is still a lot of room for improvement and more development.
Yeah.
There are already some very good initiatives, like the ones that I talked about also on stage, for example, certifying documents and things like that, and logistics. But we still have some challenges to face. For example, the jurisdictions and the law and regulations that could offer that are a challenge for blockchain. And I think for mass adoption, it's also important that people understand more about blockchain, what it is and how it could help them with an open mind. Yes.
So would you say that, obviously, I think Malta were like the first movers in putting a regulatory framework in place for blockchain. Would you say that other EU countries are looking at them to see what's working, what's not working, and then going to maybe implement some of that themselves?
Yes, I think some countries in Europe are already doing a great job on that.
Yeah.
I think if you look at Malta and Estland, they are really doing very good things when it comes to regulations. Yeah. And other countries are working on it too, but it's not so easy because I think, blockchain doesn't stop at the border. It crosses the border and it crosses the jurisdictions. Yeah. So having jurisdictions in one country in place doesn't mean that you can automatically do business with other countries then. It's something that has to be done as Europe, as a united Europe, and not separate countries.
Okay. So in that case, I understand that there's China regulating quite heavily on the blockchain technology side of things, not the cryptocurrency side of things, and also we have like Dubai that are implementing lots of blockchain technology in their governments. Are we hoping as the EU? I still say we because I'm British for a few more days. Are we hoping to be the most forward-thinking, governments or group of governments? Are we hoping to make the EU at the heart of blockchain technology?
Yes, I think so. I think we could be a very strong player on global level because if you look at China, it's a lot about the technology and what technology makes possible. Yeah. But I think the strong point that we have in Europe is that we look at the added value that it has to business and to society, what it could mean for the people. And I think that's where the real power of blockchain is. It's not just about the technology. Like I say, it's not an IT party. It's something for the business and society.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mentioned in my panel just before on the government panel about how I really like the election voting on the blockchain. I think it's perfect. I think obviously the EU promotes a democratic way of life, and I think that it's something that the EU, in my opinion, should implement over time because it means that no one has any doubts over anything. Do you think that this could happen in the next 3 to 5 years or so?
Yes, I think that technologically it's possible to do it. It's the adoption that's the critical factor I think. Yes. Yeah. So we need to inform the people more, and that's what we try to do with the EU Blockchain Observatory and Forum. We try to address those topics and to do it in a way that is understandable for everybody. And I think if people understand what it's really about and what it really means, that they don't need to be scared of it, that blockchain is not the same as Bitcoin. Once they understand that, then I think we will take a huge step towards adoption.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So this blockchain observatory forum, it sounds good. I haven't seen any talks anywhere, but I mean I haven't looked into it too much. So is there anywhere where our viewers can find out your meeting minutes or the takeaways from those? And how often do you guys meet up? And where do you guys meet up?
Okay.
Can we come? No, I'm joking.
Yeah, well, actually, we meet up offline, as we call it, in Brussels when we start a new theme.
Right.
For example, we did it on identity, e-identity. Last week there was a meeting on the convergence of blockchain, AI, and Internet of Things. Unfortunately, I had to miss it, but there are meetings like that. Then we start a new theme. We invite also experts from outside our working group to talk on their topic. Okay. And then we have a brainstorm session, and then a draft is made of the document. And from there on, we work together online. We collaborate online to finalize this draft, to make it a report. We vote on it. And when it's ready, then it's published on the website from the EU Blockchain Observatory and Forum. And you can download all the reports there.
Okay, fantastic. So obviously you represent the Netherlands. What's the appetite for blockchain in the Netherlands, and how do you attract blockchain businesses to grow and to set up in the Netherlands?
Well, we have a lot of startups in the Netherlands, so I think we have a very, very good climate for blockchain startups. Yeah. We have some big businesses that are really getting into blockchain, like banks, Rabobank, ABN AMRO. ING is also getting into blockchain. I see that the notary association in the Netherlands is also involved in blockchain, the Chamber of Commerce. So a lot of really big companies are involved, also academic institutions. So I think the climate for startups and blockchain professionals is very good in the Netherlands.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Then obviously that's good from the business point of view, but in terms of education, is the Netherlands offering any kind of courses in blockchain and cryptocurrency in universities or anything of that kind?
Yes, actually one of the programs, one of the projects from the Dutch Blockchain Coalition is called Teach the Teacher. And that is where we work together with high schools and universities, how we can implement blockchain in the curriculum. And it doesn't mean, in my point of view, in any case, that blockchain should be a separate subject on the agenda, but it should be integrated together with the rest of the curriculum, because it comes back in everything. When you learn about economics, you should learn also about how blockchain affects economics. Yeah. So we are working on that, and we are doing a lot of sessions and workshops, blockchain in a day, for example, to help people understand what blockchain is.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm very excited about the convergence of AI, blockchain, and IoT. You mentioned that you've just had an observatory forum discussing that. I think the possibilities are really endless in terms of making, global, blockchain and just, AI cities, as they say, for everything we do. So I guess my question here is, what are some of the first? I mean, because we speak a lot about blockchain use cases, and that's fine. But now we're talking about the convergence, which is even more interesting. Yes. What would be the first convergence of these three types of technology that we could expect to see in public services, for example?
Oh, in public services.
Or otherwise.
Well, for example, AI is still. It's still a little bit difficult, but I think if you talk about blockchain and Internet of Things, there are a lot of use cases that you can think about. For example, logistics. If a container full of meat, fresh meat, is being transported from one end of the world to the other end of the world, and you can put sensors in it that keep, for example, the temperature of the meat, you can always check online and real time how the temperature is and see if it has been within the limits that it should have been for the transportation of that meat, and if it's still fresh when it arrives. For example, things like that. Or for insurance companies, if a farmer has a piece of land and there was a hailstorm, that he can prove it because of the sensors that there are in the ground that can prove that there was a hailstorm at that time, at that place. So the insurance doesn't need to check the damage to the crop or whatever. So I think there are a lot of examples for Internet of Things and sensors together with blockchain.
Fantastic. Okay, that's really good. I think I'll look into that more. So last time I spoke to, when I was in Greece at Decentralized, I spoke to, I think it's Eva Khalil, I'm not going to get it right, and she told us about a fund that the EU have at the moment where they're putting, I think there's a $10 million fund or something like that to help blockchain businesses, obviously, to integrate blockchain into EU companies. You're aware of that? that fund?
I've heard of it. I think you mean Horizon 2020,
Possibly.
that fund, yes. I don't know all the details of it. I know that there is budget and that there are calls that you can apply for that fund, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so finally, we'll just finish on what is it that you, Jolanda, find most exciting about this whole space, this whole opportunity? Like, how do you believe that this technology can change the world?
Well, I believe that because of the transparency and the fact that you can verify the data, it could really improve the world because of, everybody said it already, so I'm probably repeating others, but you can help the unbanked, you can help the refugees that come here without official documents, without diplomas. You can give them their life back and their value of what they once were, and you can bring it back to them. And I believe that's really the power of blockchain.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've heard about, I think, refugees in refugee camps that have had their eyes scanned so that they're getting the correct food and people aren't stealing it. And I think that's amazing, so...
I think it can do wonderful things to the world. The thing is, we should not see it just as a technology. The technology is not the goal. The technology is the means to reach another goal. And that's how I approach blockchain.
Absolutely. And I think that was what you made a good point about in your talk earlier today. So, okay, so I know you have the workshop, so I don't want to spend too much of your time, but thanks so much for joining us on EAK TV today. Guys, that's Jolanda Ter Maten. This is EAK TV. Please subscribe below, like the channel, and I'll see you next time.